Hi folks, this is all the fruits, and today I decided to visit the biggest citrus collection in the Florence area, maybe in all of Tuscany. The biggest and the oldest, the collection of Villa di Castello. Well, this is not the Villa di Castello. This is another villa of the Medici family, which shows that being a doctor really pays off. Those guys have more villas than I can count. Yeah, unfortunately, the biggest citrus collection with citrus trees over 400 years old, yeah, it was closed today. On the gate, there were different opening days than in the internet. So I went to the neighboring Villa di Petraia. As I said, another villa of the same Medici family. By the way, they did not stay doctors forever. They became the archdukes of Tuscany. So yeah, they could afford a lot of villas, and they did collect a lot of citruses. And basically, in each big Italian mansion, you have a citrus collection. It's part of being rich. You have a big mansion, you have a big garden with a labyrinth. You have servants, you have horses and horse carts, and you have a citrus collection, even in areas where other fruit trees are considered more or less a disgrace for rich mansions. There are citrus collections in every rich mansion in Italy. Well, it says that this one is not the big collection, but still, I see several dozen citruses here, and also a lot of other fruit trees. However, I don't see labels. Well, I do see labels now, but I think, no, they are just accession numbers, no names on those labels. That's a pity. So now we have to guess what the different citruses are. Well, since we are in Italy, I guess there are lots of different lemons, and lots of different bitter oranges, and lots of different citrons. But which one is which? Well, this is apparently a lemon. Let's see, maybe some of them have labels. Nah, just the little labels with the accession numbers. That means the gardener, who has the list of numbers and names, will know what is in the pots, but visitors like me, who are not in possession of this list, yeah, there is nothing we can do. Well, but they have not only citruses here. Oh God, look at this thing, folks. I want to know what this is. Look at this. It could be a bitter orange relative, but who tells me that this is not a hybrid with Limau Purut? Look at the leaves. What is this, folks? Yellowish, quite orangish fruit when they are ripe. Well, kind of smallish, quite verrucose. The leaves, the petioles have wings. What do you think this is, folks? I think I have never seen anything exactly like this. And no name. A lemon with no name. Another citrus with no name. Oh, a nice big oak. Well, let's go to the other fruit trees. By the way, I'm not editing this video. I'm gonna just make one long video because, yeah, editing videos just for a couple hundred views is too much work, and to be honest, I have a couple dozen videos which are basically compiled of more than 1,000 short videos, and I haven't edited them yet and maybe never will, so I'll do another long video. There seems to be a lot of big beetles in this giant tree, and I can hear the woodpecker. Well, let's see what other fruit trees they have. So in the middle, along this Buxus labyrinth, there are lots of roses and citruses, but on both sides there are also other fruit tree collections. This seems to be a plot with apples. Lots and lots of different apples. And here I was so surprised and so pleased to see how they have fenced off part of the lawn. so that it cannot be cut. They have fenced it off before because there are orchids growing here and several different species. It's funny, that's an important part of my job. The last 4 weeks in Germany, that's what I was doing most of the time, fencing off lawns so that the orchids don't get cut down. Here I can see a couple different species. Well, let me walk inside and let's see what we have here. Well, this is probably some very early flowering serapias. Here are some later flowering serapias. I forgot all the names. Is this Serapias cordigera, Serapias parviflora? I was good at those Italian orchids 20 years ago, not anymore. But I'm very pleased to see they fenced them off. I don't know if those species are protected by law in Italy, but it's good that they protect them in this park here. Actually, they haven't fenced off all of them, so maybe I will help them out by marking a couple additional orchids here and there. Well, here we have an apricot collection. Well, to be honest, I don't know if it's a collection. Those are definitely apricots, several of them. Maybe those folks just like apricots and they've planted like 10 of the same apricot. But who knows? Yeah, here more serapias, but it seems to be the same species. Oh, look, they even put a nice label. Sorry folks, this is not about fruit, but I'm still so excited. Serapias parviflora, so I was half right. Serapias parviflora, beautiful. Well, what do they have here? A plum collection. And here I even see a label on one of the plums. Oh, let's see. Vero Accia. I guess this must be some local, original plum variety. No labels on the other plums. There seems to be another Serapias here. This here seems to be a cherry plum. So those here were other plums. Well, this here is a cherry plum. Cherry plum is one of the parent species of our domestic plums. So either this really is kind of a collection or this is just the rootstock which survived. This looks like an apricot in the plum section. Here another beautiful Serapias orchid. And here a kaki. The kakis are called plums, but they have nothing to do with plums. They are Ebenaceae. Well, Prunus domestica zucchella. Well, nice that they have still a label on this one. However, I'm not even convinced. It's possible that the upper ones, because look, it seems like it died. It's possible that the upper ones are still parts of the graft that looks like Prunus domestica, but those lower branches, they look like Prunus cerasifera or the cherry plum. Yeah, here as I said, the kaki is not a plum at all. This looks like it could be some ophrys, another orchid. Here an ophrys is flowering, but it has not been marked. Could be a scolopax, and here they have chopped off another ophrys. What a pity. Yeah, I think I'll do some unpaid orchid marking a little bit later. They have marked most of them, but even when I do this in Germany, I never find all of the orchids. And I also appreciate some help. Let's see what we've got here on the other side of this unnamed citrus collection. Yeah, this garden would be much more interesting for me if there were labels on the fruit trees. It's a beautiful garden with beautiful views, as you can see here. I guess that's why they built the villa here on those low hill slopes. But yeah, the fruit trees, I'm always quite upset when I don't know what they are. They have a lot of greenhouses, nursery greenhouses. I think I still haven't seen the greenhouses where they keep their citruses. Definitely not here. The access is not big enough. Those are very old-fashioned greenhouses. I think nowadays they would build them with bigger entrances, but they still work quite well. As you can see, they are still in use. So here we continue with more of the fruit tree collection and the orchids. Oh, look at that. Here they cut off a lot of orchids. Lots and lots and lots and lots. They must have cut off close to 50 orchids in this corner alone. Let's hope they did it after they finished flowering. Well, here we have a German medlar, Mespilus germanica. Another one and another one. A whole big collection of German medlars surrounding this older khaki plum. Well, the German medlar is much more closely related to the plum than the khaki plum is. And here again, some orchids, beautiful, but they did not catch them all. I think I will really have to help them out a little bit. Here again, some Xerapias parviflora. Oh, here in the middle, some really nice, huge flowered Xerapias. Here, everywhere orchids. I really hope they cut those. They did not cut those too early. Nice big Xerapias. Sorry folks, I love orchids. I know this is a fruit video, but it's my video, so I don't care. So, what do we have here? A nice pear collection, it seems. Oh yeah, this one has a lot of beautiful little pear fruits. And look at that. Beautiful giant Xerapias flowers. Ain't those real cuties, man. Yeah, seems to be quite a big pear collection. Here, some remnants of the label. Moscatella Getty. I don't know, man. I thought Muscatel is a grape variety. Here it's underneath a pear. Maybe they are Muscatel pears too. Please comment on that. So seems like they have quite a big pear collection. Again, I don't know if it's a collection. They have quite a lot of pears. Okay, finishing this video for now. If I find more interesting fruit trees, I will continue. More nameless citruses in the upper part of the park. What a pity. I mean, okay, even if you don't know what they taste like, you mix them all together, they will taste kind of lemony. Or you put some sugar on them, you can make lemonade. But still, it's a pity. Well, this seems to be a lemon, but who knows? Just those succession numbers. Here, by the way, here in the front, 2 grapefruit trees. And in the back, like in other parks in the Toscana, we have bitter oranges, which are not bitter, but they are called bitter oranges, Citrus aurantium. They are growing as a hedge on a south-facing wall. This is quite typical around Florence. They have this in a lot of palaces. It's the only citrus that can kind of reliably survive in the climate of Florence. Well, pond Cirus could only survive, but I don't think they regard pond Cirus as a true citrus here. They must have well over 100 potted citruses here and probably over 100 planted as a hedge, but no names, no names. Well, here an old mulberry tree. Looks like the white mulberry, I would say. Yeah, it's a white mulberry. More suitable to the climate here than the subtropical black mulberry. Behind this palace, there is something which looks like Mediterranean vegetation, which is actually quite untypical for the area of Florence, because Florence has deciduous, temperate to sub-Mediterranean vegetation. But here there is lots of evergreen oak, lots of cypresses, well, a couple cedars, which are definitely not native, and here a horse chestnut, which is also not native. I don't know, there are such small areas of evergreen Mediterranean vegetation on hot, dry, south-facing slopes, especially if they are limestone rich, and this area is limestone rich. I'm showing it to you just to show you what the typical Mediterranean vegetation is, and that it's actually quite untypical for a place so far north and so far inland. Since evergreen oaks and similar trees have been planted in a lot of the parks of the Medici family, I strongly suspect that all this here was planted. But basically, this looks more or less like a native Mediterranean evergreen forest, which almost certainly is not native to this part of the Mediterranean. Just wanted to show you that, yeah, you can cultivate those things in the area of Florence, but I don't think that this was really the natural dominant vegetation here. And here, if anybody is still in doubt how rich in limestone this area is, look at that. This giant thing is not an ancient rock, but it's actually, well, this is actually limestone which basically fell out of the water which ran down probably from a pipe along this wall. So this giant rock here is younger than the wall in the background, despite this rock having, I'm sure, like 20 or 30 or maybe even 40 tons. So incredibly rich in limestone, which means, yeah, it's good for plants like the orchids, bad for other plants like roses, and also, yeah, kind of dry, so that it's not totally impossible that this evergreen vegetation here grew naturally here, but I still doubt it. I still think those trees were planted.